Theological Pipe.
I've been expecting you.
There is a God, and
I speak German.
I'm Rocky.
She's a good girl, loves horses, loves America, and Elvis too. She's a good girl, crazy about her boyfriend, loves Jesus, and her mama too. Welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe, where we're going to be talking about little things can make a huge difference. I just sang the opening lines of Tom Petty's Free Falling, a great song with some of the best opening lines ever. Now, I played them wrong. If you know the song, you recognized that the words were not in order, and I did that on purpose to kind of prove the point that the words were arranged in the order that they were arranged, I think, for a reason. Now, I'm not sure if Tom Petty did it on purpose, but for me, Free Falling has some of the greatest opening lines of any song, and I played it again incorrectly to show that I don't think that Tom Petty arranged the lyrics the way he did for melody's sake or for some sort of rhyme scheme, because I played it, and because we're so used to hearing it a different way, we're like, oh, that doesn't make sense, but you can see melodically or musically it made sense. So I'm going to play it again. Excuse my guitar playing, excuse my singing, don't claim to be great at either of those things, but I want to play it again and then talk about how these lines are some of the greatest opening lines of any song and why they make such an impact on me, and how little things like this make all the difference in life. Sometimes it's the little things. We get so focused on the macro that we ignore some of the cool micro things that happen. So again, this is Tom Petty's Free Falling. This is the way it really goes. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus, and America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses, and her boyfriend too. Pure genius, and it's those little things. I play in a praise and worship team, have for a long time at churches, played with some friends and bands and stuff like that, and my favorite moments of worship, my favorite moments of music are, and I don't want to say mistakes, but are those moments that are unexpected. My favorite parts of a lot of songs are just a syncopated beat that doesn't belong there, or a note being twisted or bended in a way that you weren't expected, or a chord being played that just kind of seems out of place, or a singer that is trying to strain for a note but can't quite make it, and their voice kind of cracks and gets gravelly, and they catch it and they go to a falsetto to fix it, and in their mind they're like, oh, I messed up, and in my mind I'm like, yes, that's the best part of the song. And it's those little things that make me happy, and I think that even though I wish I could do it more, I think being able to focus on those little moments of joy, those little moments of happiness, not just in music, but in life, is a good skill to cultivate. And I love Free Fallin' by Tom Petty because of the opening lines of the song. The rest of the song is fine. The rest of the song is great. When it first came out, it was probably overplayed way too much, but it was a good song. It's still a good song. I love Tom Petty. But I want to just pay attention to what he says in this opening line. And I'm not going to get into what the song means or who he's talking about. He says she's a good girl. He opens it up. She's a good girl, and she loves her mama, loves Jesus, and America too. She's a good girl. She's crazy about Elvis. She loves horses, and her boyfriend too. In my mind, I believe that Tom Petty wrote that in that order on purpose, and in my mind, it's a pecking order. And I don't want to say it's like a slap in the face to the boyfriend, but I just think how amazing. He's like, hey, family first. You know, she's a good girl. She loves her mama. She loves God. She loves Jesus. So love your family. Love God. Love your country. She loves America. Hey, you know what else? She's crazy about Elvis. She likes horses. Oh, and her boyfriend too. That's the last one of that list of 6 things. Her mama, Jesus, America, Elvis, horses, and her boyfriend too. And I just, for some reason, that always just, I'm like, yes, what a brilliant, brilliant way to do that by Tom Petty. Again, when I sang it at first at the beginning of the song, I put it out of order, and you saw that it still could have worked. It still would have worked if he would have put her boyfriend second, like she really loves her boyfriend, or if he would have put, Jesus near the bottom, like she's religious but not really. But this is, he's saying, I'm not saying it was purposefully done to prove a point, but for this girl, it's family, it's God, it's her country. Hey, she likes Elvis, she likes rock and roll, and again, he's the king of rock and roll, so he's the king. She loves rock and roll, she loves horses, and her boyfriend too. And it's those little things, those little moments in songs, those little moments in life that I think can make a huge difference in people's lives. And I just have always thought every time I hear that man, that's great. And I'm sure that I could probably go on Google, and I purposely didn't because I didn't want to ruin it, and have him say in some interview, and they say, hey, Tom, did you put these in any particular order? And he's like, nah, I just drew them out of a hat, and it would just make it not mean the same to me. And I may go research it again, but I just think if he were still alive, I think it'd be cool to go to him and say, hey, did you put these in any particular order for a reason? And again, for me, it's order of importance. Family, Jesus, America, Elvis. And again, he could have said she's crazy about the Beatles. She's crazy about somebody, but she was crazy about America, so she's crazy about Elvis, the king of rock and roll, and he's an American artist, so she's crazy about Elvis, so rock and roll music's important. Hey, horses, animals, nature, all that stuff, and then her boyfriend's at the bottom. And I think it's just a ranking system, and again, for whatever reason, I just always find that to be such a cool way to open the song. And again, on the larger point of Theological Pipe for today is to just focus on those little things. In life, there's so many things that, especially these days, and I talked about this on my last podcast, about how we're going through so many things, and whether it's politics or culture, and those things kind of mesh together, and then sports meshes together with politics, and politics is infusing everything, and they're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle, and they're trying to, release emails to make somebody, to fire John Gruden from the Raiders for emails that came out. And I'm not saying his emails weren't bad, but you know that other people have said worse things. The President of the United States has said worse things. Are they going to cancel him now? And there's so many just things that go on, and so many things that we can complain about. And that's just culture and the world and politics. And then if we go down and go further into our lives, and our individual, the smaller circles that we live in, whether it's our family or our friends, our jobs, the people we work with, etc., there's always things going on. There's people in hospitals, there's sickness. We're still dealing with, COVID and vaccines and mandates, and some people are stepping up and not going against the mandates, and the border, and, we can go on and list all the things that are going on. I'm sorry, I keep going into macro. I want to go more into the personal things, things at work that people have to deal with. And we always are focused on things that we don't like. And sometimes when we do that, we miss the good things. And I'll give you a quick story. I'm not going to get too detailed on it. But at work, I work, and I'm not going to give the place. I don't want to, give things away. It's not a big deal. But at work, there's issues that we deal with. Everyone has a work experience. So this is universal. Everyone has work issues. Everyone has issues with their boss. Everyone has issues with their coworkers. Everyone has issue with the workload. Everyone has issues with COVID protocols, and everyone has issues with the temperature. Everyone has issues with whatever. And in your mind, you think, man, if I can get this list of things, if they would just fix these 5 or 6 or 10 things, things would be better. So at my work, we actually had, we at our department, we wanted more people and we wanted more money. And we actually were able to hire 4 more people, which in this climate was amazing. And we got a bonus of, a pretty decent sized bonus. And when we're working, we're still focused on those other things that we want to change. And it's almost like, hey, take a step back for a minute and look. you got 2 out of the 5 things. You got 2 out of the 10 things that you were wanting. Let's rejoice and be happy in those little things. And again, a bonus is not little. Hiring new people is not little. But let's rejoice in those little things. Let's enjoy the things that happen. We can't, with the swipe of a hand or a magic wand wish or something like that, just change everything to make it perfect. It's not going to be that way. And in fact, life is never that way. It's a series of ups and downs. There's a great line. It just reminded me of another great line in a Billy Joel song called "Say Goodbye to Hollywood." One of his lines is, "Life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbyes again." And sorry, that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. But it's a great line, and it's the little things, those little things. There's always something good to look at in life. Even in the midst of tragedies, even in the midst of trials and tribulations, there's always something there to bring joy to your life. A sunrise, a sunset, rain when it's needed. If you have a dog or a cat or a pet, they're awesome. If you have, friends or family, brothers and sisters, and something funny happens or something good happens. How many times have my brother and I, we basically communicate through memes or through TikTok videos. And I'm sitting at work, and the next thing you know, a TikTok video pops up, and it's hilarious, and it makes me laugh. That's a good moment. That's something you can focus on. So it's those little things. And again, whenever I think about the little things, it's always those, for me, moments and songs usually, but it's other things. But that Tom Petty line, those opening few lines where he puts those things in my opinion, in a pecking order, I just think it's brilliant. I think that's a brilliant opening for a song. And hope that makes sense. And again, the whole point of this theological pipe is for us to be able to focus on some little moments, some moments of joy and happiness and things that we can find contentment in for a little bit. Because, this world's going to beat us up every once in a while. Again, I can go to a movie moment. There's a great speech in Rocky Balboa where he's talking to his son on the street, and he says, "The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows."
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place.
It's a mean, nasty place, and it will beat you down. And I'm not going to go into the whole speech. It's a great speech. But he gives that speech, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The world isn't. But you know what? Look for those moments where you do find sunshine and you do find rainbows, whether it's in a raise at work, a smile from someone who normally doesn't smile at you, someone buys your drink when you're driving through Sonic, a line in a song that always makes you happy. They're there. You just have to look for them. And when you get them, hold on to them because they do make a difference. So put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Be nice, and we'll see you next time.
Well. Bye.